Should take about 30 minutes or so to get back here where I picked you up, if everything goes safe and well. Okay, it is my first day today. Want it to go perfect. Some of you guys are looking at me like you're really concerned about things safe. Don't worry, I'm going to start with the safety rules first, all right? We do have more than 30 bridges we have to pass underneath. And I want everyone to make it back safely. So I need everyone to stay seated. Watch your hands and elbows. Some of these bridges are really low. So stay seated there. You don't have to move your arms now. Just keep an eye on them. Nothing close to the wall. If you drop your cell phone in the river, raise your right hand. I'll raise mine. We'll start waving that thing goodbye together. Sorry. Can't stop your cell phones. Rule number 2, no smoking on the cruise. Especially you, buddy, right there in the middle up there. Yeah, no smoking, thank you. The last tip is really simple, but very important. We have to say it to everybody. It does happen. If you fall into the river for some odd reason, try not to panic, okay? If you fall in, stay calm, stand up and walk out. Yeah, the river's 3 feet to 5 feet deep, you'll be fine. About waist high, most times. Should be okay. This part of the river is man-made.
Vamos a ver. Oye, Ana Beatriz, estamos en el crucero por el río de aquí de San Antonio. Next year, this will be 35 years old on this part of the river. I wasn't a boat captain when they built it, but when they hired me, they told me I was the perfect height for this job. And I trusted them. Look over here on the right, guys. There's a statue on the sidewalk over here. San Antonio de Padua. Where the city's name came from. Our city was established by the Spanish Catholic Church, named after a Catholic saint, San Antonio. He was not Spanish, he was Portuguese. That statue was actually sent here from Lisbon, the city he was born in, sent here to the city named after him as a gift for a World's Fair that we hosted back in 1968. Named the Hemisphere. That's also when they built this part of the river. This is also man-made. This was the first man-made extension ever added to the San Antonio River. Perfect timing to show you exactly.
the St. Joseph's Catholic Church.
Perfect time.
Right? It's from 1868. This was built by the Germans here in San Antonio. They wanted a place to practice Catholic Mass in German. Back then, over half the state was German establishment. Today, it's still over a third of Texas is established by the Germans. Some cities just around us, Bernie, Bulverde, New Braunfels, Greene County, Shiner, Texas, Fredericksburg up near Austin, those are all German establishments from the early 1800s. But I mentioned this part of the river here. This was the first man-made extension added. The rest of the river we're going to travel through is natural. Everything else I'll take you through is part of the 10,000-year-old formation of San Antonio River. All the water you see here was fed by an underground freshwater spring from north.
Mira los patos en el agua.
About 4 miles up north from here. And the river flows over 200 miles south of that water and goes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. Never dries out. So heading out to conduct this 2-mile circle on the National Body. We'll come back to this point. If you look up ahead of us, you'll see a big Hilton right here on the river with some golden bedrooms. On the other side, they're lit up with holiday colors. Hilton Palacio del Rio. It's a palace on the river. This hotel.
Mira para acá, Malena. Miren para
Guinness
acá.
Book. It's 500 rooms and they built it in 200 days.
¿Estás grabando?
7.5
no grabamos.
months.
Ah, ok. Yo sí estoy grabando.
The fastest 500-room hotel ever built. The bedrooms are built 8 miles away in a warehouse. All the bedrooms were built using concrete. They molded 16 bedrooms a day and built them all individually. They added plumbing, furnishings, and electronics inside of them. Brought them to the river and used cranes. They've lifted them and stacked them onto this foundation like giant Legos all the way to the top. When they were lifted, before the rooms were stacked, the beds were made. They had towels and soaps in the bathroom, coffee makers, telephones. They weighed 70,000 pounds each. They stacked every bedroom in 48 days, and 3 days later they opened and all the guests started checking in. 3 days after construction, 3 nights after, and people were sleeping in these rooms. Yeah, and it's record. Now we're about to go through the only river theater in the United States. The seats on the left can hold up to 800 guests. The main stage is on the right. Singers, dancers, performing on the river all year. How many of you have watched the movie Miss Congeniality starring Sandra Bullock?
Oh, yes.
They filmed the swimsuit model contest scene for that movie right here. I know it's my favorite part of the movie too. And if you remember that famous scene when Sandra played a song with wine glasses, that was filmed on a stage in front of the Alamo, 2 blocks down the road. And this is one of the best spots for the holiday lights. If you guys want to pull your cameras out, a little video, a little Snapchat, a little TikTok, Facebook Live. There's almost 200 of these trees that have these lights hanging in them. The ones you see above us are the cypress trees. They're the most common and they're the oldest on the river, especially the ones in this spot. Very old. Down on the right ahead of us here is Marriage Island. We host 300 weddings on the Riverwalk every year. Most of them are on that island right there. If you look closely though, you see this cypress tree. This one is the island. It actually grew in the river, and all the roots sprouted above the water, formed a body of land. Look back here, you guys see all the weddings actually take place on top of the roots of this 400-year-old tree. Roots down the bottom. We call it Marriage Island. On the other side of the bridge, right over there, Divorce Island. Just kidding, guys. We don't have a divorce island. People would be pushing each other in the river left and right off of that island there. The wedding ceremonies on this river date back to the Mexican Revolution. Further, actually, they date back over 200 years. Look up on the left here, you'll see a big tower with our nation flag up top. Brand new flag, just got replaced. It was replaced this morning. If you look up there, you'll see gargoyles that circle the rooftops on the building. The first and the second tier rooftops. There's a third set of gargoyles right down here on the street level. Called grotesques. Their faces built into the walls. They ward off bad luck and evil spirits. They protect everything in the building. 1929. Tallest building in the United States, west side of the Mississippi. For almost a decade, that was the tallest building on the west side of the country. Look at those faces there. Continued to be the tallest in Texas until the 1950s. This was our public observation tower up until 1968. You used to be able to pay 50 cents to ride the elevators in this all the way to the top, but the day it opened was June 1st, 1929. Thousands of people came here to see the city from the top. You look back from here, you get a good view. If you guys want to get a picture of this tower, it's a national landmark. You get that full structure from here. Been looking at that flag every day for almost 5 years, waiting for them to replace it. Just replaced it overnight. I saw you falling asleep up there. Pay attention. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta hit the horn because we're not the only boats on the river. There are park police, landscaping boats, city barges, and parade boats too. This boat is practically silent. It weighs 4,000 pounds before you guys got into it. Well, I don't want to hit another boat. Yeah. Look behind me about 200 meters. You'll see some green and red lights. Those are not holiday lights. Those are there year-round. There's a 20-foot waterfall in that spot. It's a floodgate. Under every street bridge, you'll see drainage systems built into the bridges. Every single one has something like that. When it rains, all the water from the streets is redirected into the river. That floodgate back there is controlling everything in the river back to the mall and up to a mile ahead of us. And it's sitting at an angle. There's a waterfall that's leveling out the river at the same time to stop flooding. It doesn't flood here in downtown San Antonio, and it hasn't flooded in over a century. 1921, in September, a week and a half, non-stop rain caused the river to flood. And this water was recorded 10 feet above the street levels. You guys see that bridge right there? Imagine the water 10 feet above the signs.
Ven acá, pasamos por frente a la parte de atrás del edificio donde estamos.
They developed this system to make sure.
Me avisa cuándo es, porque yo no me acuerdo.
No, ya pasamos.
Ya pasamos.
For over a century. It's been 101 years now. It's 1921 was the last flood. That tree ahead of us, that's the oldest and tallest cypress tree on the river right there. It's about 100 feet tall almost. And it's over 500 years old. And the Ben Milam tree. Doesn't look too big from this side, but I'm going to back this boat up. I'm going to show you how big this tree really is. There was a colonel who was shot on the river here during a battle in 1835. His name was Ben Milam, the colonel. He was a Texas revolutionary, and he had about 100 men behind him on the west side of the river here. There was a Mexican rifleman hiding in this tree during the battle. See, these soldiers had come to take control of this city, and the president of Mexico had stationed other soldiers here to protect it. Now, those Mexican soldiers that were here were so outnumbered, they were about 10 to 1, they were outnumbered by the Texans. So over 300 Texans came to take control of the city.
And the soldiers here were using trees like this to defend themselves. They were climbing them and hiding and taking out as many Texans as they could before they were captured or shot themselves. Ben Milam was shot by a rifleman hiding in this tree on December 5th, 1835. He was shot on the other side. This is the Ben Milam tree, named after the colonel. See, the Texans actually forced the soldiers into the Alamo mission after about a day and a half. And then the next morning, the General Marcus Nichols, who was stationed here by Santa Ana, he raised the white flag out of the Alamo and surrendered the city. The Texans took control of San Antonio. And he had sent letters to Mexico City to let him know what had happened, the president. So Santa Ana gathered over 1,000 soldiers and marched directly here to take this city back. And he arrived in late February. The Battle of the Alamo began. 1836. That went on for 2 weeks, and he took this city back. He was successful in that. You look up here, we have a new high-rise luxury apartment building they're putting together. We got the newest Hilton they just opened last year. It's called the Canopy. Look at this, suspending over the river. Look at those guys on that balcony bar up there. And then we got the oldest bar on the river right here below it, the Esquire Tavern. They opened the day after Prohibition, ended in 1933. The repeal was December 5th. These guys were fully stocked somehow at 12:01 at midnight, 1 minute after. They're serving drinks. You know, before midnight, though, they were the Esquire Barber Shop. You guys know how a bunch of barbers stocked the bar in 1 minute, became bartenders? Well, they had a speakeasy under their barber shop, and if you knew a secret haircut, you get downstairs, they let you walk out with a lot more than a haircut. They changed the name at midnight and started serving drinks. Nobody could stop them. Is that Barb? Thank you, Barb.
You're welcome.
She wants to race you guys. On your mark, get set, go! First to the bridge. This is the best spot for the holiday lights right here, guys. So that barber shop, they changed the name at midnight and brought the bottles out of the basement and started serving drinks. If you go in there today, they got the longest wooden bar in Texas, 108 feet. My great-grandfather used to love to get his haircuts in that barber shop. Twice a day he'd go in there. Haircut. How many of you guys saw the movie Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez? It's a true story, the life and death of Selena Quintanilla, the Tejano superstar. She got engaged on this bridge to her husband before she passed away. They went and got married in Corpus Christi. And we nicknamed this Selena's Bridge. So if you watch the movie, you will see Jennifer Lopez sitting on that bridge. You can also see a chili dog right there. You guys see it? Big fluffy one. Chili dog right there. Now every night there's a random girl on that bridge yelling out bitty bitty bonbons. Give it a try, you might be the first one tonight. Say no. There's a hospital coming up here.
Pico está grabando, ¿verdad? Para el canal de YouTube.
1930. Now pull your cameras out for this one. I want everyone to look all the way up to the left, guys. This was the first hospital built in a skyscraper. And it's flat. See that? Now the architect who designed this, the structure was designed by a man named J.L. Nix. This is the Nix Hospital. It opened in 1930. It was the first fully functioning hospital to have an air conditioning system. They named it after the architect because of that really cool design. Now, it shut down 3 years ago.
This was a clinic for 90 years. Marriott bought it for 20 million. Now, it'd be really cool if they keep the name Nick's by Marriott to honor the architect. But we've already passed 3 other Marriotts on the Riverwalk so far. This one will be the 4th. It will be the only one that had a morgue under it too for 90 years. You ain't charging me $350 a night to stay in that one, Marriott. Well, you guys believe it goes. Look on the left here. There's a shortcut to the Alamo right there. Take you 2 minutes to get to the Alamo from the river. So you go through, it's a shortcut. This is the Hyatt Regency. They opened 1981 and they built their hotel with that access underneath. And when you get to the Alamo, it's free to visit every day until 5 o'clock. It's open to the public. It always has been.